Welcome to iCritic Live. This is the podcast where we talk about entertainment, pop culture, and life in between. I'm your host, Kevin T. Rodriguez, film critic of iCritic.net. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes of your time here with me today. And today is probably going to be a bit of a... I keep saying this is going to be a bit of a controversial episode a lot. Maybe I should just assume that it's going to be controversial because I like talking about things that are controversial. So we're going to talk about David Owen Russell today, aka David O. Russell, aka the jerk who makes great movies. Now then, I am kind of in an odd position when it comes to this man on social media. I acknowledge that he is probably not a good person. In fact, there is a lot that suggests he is a terrible human being. And yet, he makes wonderful movies, like really good movies. Some of my favorite movies of all time, things like Three Kings and The Fighter, Silver Linings Playbook, and American Hustle. I mean, these are all movies that I think my life is better having seen, and several of them wound up on top 10 lists because I've been doing top 10 lists for a very, very long time. But the thing is, he has a reputation for being abusive. In fact, this article that I'm going to be quoting from Vulture is called A Timeline of the Allegations Against Amsterdam Director David O. Russell. It was written by Jennifer Zan, who's a Vulture News blogger covering music, internet culture, and TV. So thank you, Jennifer, for putting this together. And she, grabbed pieces from the individual reports about how Russell is really a horrible human being. And yet on the internet, especially on social media circles like X and Facebook and Blue Sky, things like that, people say, why are people still giving him work? Why are studios still hiring him? Why are these big actors still willing to work with him when he is just such a terrible person? And my response is always, this is called show business. It's not show friends. The more common way to say it's not show friends, it's show business. And we're going to talk about that on why the business aspect for O. Russell's films really wins out any bad behavior. And in fact, there was a report that came out just a few hours before this recording. So this is kind of also like a breaking news story as well, if you think about it. So, he's not changed. He's still a despicable human being. And we're going to look over how despicable he is, but then we're going to go over why he keeps getting hired and why people work with him. So anyway, let's go down and let's look at the first allegation, June 2000. In an interview with Playboy, George Clooney alleges that Russell yelled and screamed at people all day from day one on the set of Three Kings. According to Clooney, the director publicly embarrassed a camera car driver and reduced a script supervisor to tears. Allegedly, Russell also once got physically violent when an extra who was supposed to tackle Clooney felt a little nervous about executing the stunt. Clooney recalls Russell pushing the extra to the ground, kicking him, and questioning if he wanted to be in this effing movie. So, and then it goes on. Clooney had to play Peacemaker, and then basically he said that this was the worst experience of his life, and that life was too short to be working with men like him. Okay, so that's one allegation. Now, in April 2003, per the New York Times, Russell physically attacks Christopher Nolan at a Hollywood party. The director reportedly wanted Jude Law to star in I Heart Huckabees, but heard that Law had decided to take a role in one of Nolan's movies instead. The Times reports, with party guests watching, Russell put Nolan in a headlock and wrapped his arm around his fellow director's neck. He allegedly demanded that Nolan give up on his star to show artistic solidarity. Law remained in the Huckabees cast. Now, I don't 100% know if if this is true, because here's the thing. It doesn't cite what movie that was. I know that there was a movie he released in 2002. Maybe this is The Prestige. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. So anyway, now the next allegation actually has some video evidence. So July 2003, in a now infamous video taken on the Huckabee set, actress Lily Tomlin expresses frustration with a constant barrage of changes being asked of her. Quote, "I'm not as brilliant as you. I can't keep up with you," she quips. Russell is eventually seen sweeping props off a desk, causing a person in the corner to cower as objects go flying. B, I'm not here to be effing yelled at, he shouts. I worked on this thing for 3 effing years, and I'm not going to have some effing, I'm not going to even word that one, yell at me in front of the effing crew when I'm trying to effing help you. Russell storms off set and continues to yell. This is recorded, by the way. You can watch it on YouTube. Look up Lily versus David O. It's quite a bad look. March 2011, speaking at South by Southwest, Paul Rubens alleges that Russell screamed at him at the top of his lungs on his first day working on Nailed. The Jake Gyllenhaal-led movie, shot in 2008, was later released under the title Accidental Love in 2015. Rubens claims that he doesn't know what caused the director to start cursing and screaming at him on the first take. I don't think it was reality-based, he said with a laugh. January 2012, 19-year-old Nicole Peliquin files a police report alleging that Russell, her uncle, SA'd her at a gym in Florida on December 30th, 2011. The Smoking Gun obtains and publishes a copy of the report filed with the Broward Sheriff's Office. According to a report, the then 53-year-old Russell offered to help his niece with abdominal exercises and placed his hand right above her private parts. Peliquin, a transgender woman who was on hormone treatment at the time, further alleges that Russell then reached under her shirt and felt both of her breasts. Russell, by the way, admitted that he touched his niece's breast, claiming he was curious about how the hormones affected her breasts. Not really any defense for that one. September 2014, in an email that later becomes public through the Sony hack, journalist Jonathan Alter shares allegations about Russell's behavior on American Hustle with Sony CEO Michael Linton, Alter's brother-in-law. Not only are there stories about him reforming himself total BS, Alter writes, but the news stories of his abuse and lunatic behavior are extreme even by Hollywood standards. He alleges that Russell grabbed one person by the collar, repeatedly cursed at people in front of others, and so abused Amy Adams that co-star Christian Bale told the director to stop acting like an a-hole. And I've met Amy Adams, I should mention. She's such a nice person. I don't know why you'd want to yell at her. February 2015, an eyewitness tells TMZ that Russell and his frequent collaborator, Jennifer Lawrence, had a loud argument on the set of the Fox movie Joy. Allegedly, David launched into an ear-piercing, profanity-filled tirade against the actress. A representative for the Fox studio confirms to TMZ the director screamed but claims he was preparing Lawrence to shout in a scene. In a since-deleted Facebook post, Lawrence calls the shouting match a terrible rumor, adding that she adores Russell and considers him one of her closest friends. October 2016, Amy Adams addresses the leaked Sony exchange and confirms she was mistreated by Russell on the set of American Hustle. Adams alleges that the director developed a wild, crazy way of working while shooting 2012 Silver Lining Playbook. She describes the result as mania, claiming that Russell screamed instructions at actors throughout every scene. And allegedly, Russell was so hard on Adams while shooting American Hustle that she cried. I was really just devastated on set. So, January 2020, Deadline reports that Russell will write and direct a movie starring Christian Bale for New Regency. This will be Russell's first feature film since 2015's Joy. I don't know why that's relevant. That's not an allegation of any sort. June 2021, Taylor Swift is the last person to be revealed as part of the ensemble cast for Russell's upcoming movie, which is now officially titled Amsterdam. She joins a bunch of other actors. Okay, so these last few things where they don't really have any new allegations. Although one new allegation is that because O. Russell is directing a Madden biopic, the sports announcer John F. Madden, with Nicolas Cage as Madden and Christian Bale as some other sports guy. I'm actually really looking forward to this movie. It's probably going to be very good. But according to the New York Post, a Madden actor quit the film after Russell used the N-word. So, as the story by Eric Tadisco writes, drama is ensuing on the set of Madden. A supporting actor in the upcoming film starring Christian Bale and Nicolas Cage allegedly quit on Friday, just 2 weeks after production started, over David O. Russell's alleged use of the N-word on the set, TMZ reported on Wednesday. 5 members of the cast and crew reportedly told the outlet that the famous director, 66, allegedly uttered the racial slur while he was working with the unnamed actor on an impromptu monologue. The actor and others were upset by Russell's comment and walked off the set early that day, per TMZ. TMZ is such a wonderful source for these types of things. Sometimes they get it right, sometimes they get it wrong. But Amazon Studios sources told TMZ that it allegedly was the actor's idea to include the N-word in the scene after a private creative conversation with Russell. The source claimed that Russell didn't say the slur when the scene was shot and the word didn't make it in the final cut. Sounds like they're covering their butts, truth be told. In addition, the cast, crew sources told TMZ that the day before the alleged N-word incident, the same actor refused to shoot a nude scene in a locker room, which allegedly upset Russell, who had an unprofessional reaction. However, studio sources downplayed the alleged incident and claimed that an intimacy coordinator was there to help make the actor feel more comfortable. So that's the latest allegation. So I don't think Russell is a nice guy. Let's make that absolutely clear. I think he sounds like a horrible human being. But there's also something undeniable. He makes great movies. And people say, well, yeah, he makes great movies, but is he even like a box office draw or anything? Well, let's look at his filmography, because this is where you see why people keep taking a chance on David O. Russell, both financially and creatively. So let's go to his first film, Spanking the Monkey, which you probably have not seen. It's a 1994 American black comedy. His first movie, I think, really low budget. It was made on $200,000. It grosses $1.4 million. That is a great return. So then he goes on to making Flirting with Disaster, another black comedy, which was written and directed by him. This one has some stars that you might recognize. It has like Ben Stiller, Patricia Arquette, Téa Leoni, Alan Alda, Mary Tyler Moore, Lily Tomlin, Richard Jenkins. So, okay, yeah, definitely moving up in the world. He makes a movie for $7 million. It makes $14.7 million. Not exactly a huge moneymaker, but you know what? It broke even. But then a few years later, he makes what I truly consider to be his breakout film, Three Kings. This one stars George Clooney, Mark Wahlberg, Ice Cube, and Spike Jonze, who would eventually become his own great director. This receives critical acclaim. It's made on a budget of $48 million. It makes $107.7 million. As far as awards go, did it get any award nominations? No, it didn't, but it got talked for award nominations quite a bit. Well, I skipped one. 5 years later, he makes I Heart Huckabees. This has Dustin Hoffman, Isabella Huppert, Jude Law, Jason Schwartzman, Lily Tomlin, Mark Wahlberg, and Naomi Watts. It costs $20 million. It makes $20.1 million. So that's basically a bomb. Not a huge bomb, but a little bomb. And so he doesn't make another movie again for 6 years when he makes The Fighter, which this is a great one. And this movie costs $11 million to make. The budget's being reined in a little bit now, but it makes $129.2 million. What's more, it is an awards darling. It is nominated for the Academy Awards for Best Picture, Director, Supporting Actor for Christian Bale, who wins for the movie. 2 Supporting Actress nominations for Amy Adams and Melissa Leo. Melissa Leo wins. It wins for the screenplay. It gets BAFTA nominations for Supporting Actor and Actress. It wins the Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actor and Best Supporting Actress. The Screen Actors Guild also gives a Supporting Actor and Supporting Actress. So this is unqualified a huge hit for him. And a couple years later, he's back with his follow-up project, Silver Linings Playbook. This has Bradley Cooper, Jennifer Lawrence, Robert De Niro, Jackie Weaver, Chris Tucker. It's made for $21 million, so he gets some of his budget back. And it makes $236.4 million. Very impressive for an R-rated movie, I want to add. When it comes to accolades, Silver Linings Playbook is, in some ways, more successful. It's nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, and it's nominated in all 4 acting categories. A rarity, with Jennifer Lawrence winning Best Actress, and the screenplay and the film editing is also adapted. When it comes to the British Academy Film Awards, it wins Best Adapted Screenplay. For the Golden Globes, it wins Best Actress in Musical or Comedy for Jennifer Lawrence. SAG? What does SAG do? Yep, Jennifer Lawrence wins Best Actress. So, and that money, oh my gosh, like that was a huge return on the investment. So, of course, he can make whatever he wants after that. He decides to make American Hustle. This has Christian Bale, Bradley Cooper, Amy Adams, Jeremy Renner, Jennifer Lawrence, Louis C.K., Michael Pena, Another all-star cast. He makes it for $40 million, and he gets back, in return, $251.2 million at the box office. Another unquestioning success. And come Oscar time, it gets 10 Oscar nominations. Picture, director, actor, actress, supporting actress. He gets 4 acting nominations for all across the board. Again, such a rarity. Original screenplay, costume design, editing, production design. Now, unlike his last couple movies, this walks away empty-handed at the Academy Awards. BAFTA does give Jennifer Lawrence Best Supporting Actress to Jennifer Lawrence, and Best Screenplay and Best Hairstyling and Makeup. And the Golden Globes gives Amy Adams Best Actress in Musical Comedy and Jennifer Lawrence Best Supporting Actress in a Motion Picture. Oh, they also give American Hustle Best Picture in a Musical or Comedy. So, what did SAG do? SAG wins Best Ensemble in a Cast. So it's actually really strange, taking all that into consideration, that it didn't win a single Academy Award. That suggested some major love for the movie. But how do you follow that up? How on earth do you follow up something like American Hustle? Well, you kind of do and you kind of don't, because the next movie that's released is Accidental Love. This has Jessica Biel, Jake Gyllenhaal, Catherine Keener, James Marsden, Tracy Morgan, Josh Brolin, like all-star cast. This movie cost $26 million. It makes $139,000. Yeah. Much less than $250,000. Now, there is an asterisk to this one. The movie had actually started in production in 2008 under the title Nailed, but it was frequently halted because there were money issues, and eventually everyone quit. Well, I guess there was just enough there that someone named Millennium Entertainment bought the assets, recut it themselves, and released it. And because Russell did not have a say in how this all went down, he decided to pull an Alan Smithy and be credited as Stephen Green. And so, that is technically his movie, but it's also technically not his movie. So that's his one unqualified disaster. But he never finished it. That same year, his follow-up movie, Joy, with Jennifer Lawrence and Robert De Niro and Bradley Cooper, gets released. And it's made on a $60 million budget. It's also PG-13 this time, which is rare for him. And it makes $101.1 million. So it basically breaks even. Doesn't really make a lot of money, but it breaks even. However, it does get Jennifer Lawrence an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress. She also won the Golden Globe for this movie for the musical or actress. The movie was nominated for Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy. So, it still has some awards love. And then we get to his most recent film, Amsterdam. This is definitely a star-studded cast. This has Christian Bale, John David Washington, Margot Robbie, Chris Rock, Anna Taylor-Joy, Zoe Saldana, Mike Myers, Michael Shannon, Timothy Olyphant, Andrea Riseborough, Rami Malek, Robert De Niro, and Taylor Swift. And because the movie was rated R, a lot of the Swifties couldn't actually go to see it. This movie costs $80 million to make, most of which probably goes to the cast because the cast want Oscars, and he wins some people Oscars. But it makes $31.2 million, and it receives mixed reviews. Well, not even mixed reviews, bad reviews. I actually kind of like this movie, but I know a lot of people don't. And this was unqualified a failure on both a critical and a commercial level. But let's take a look at that. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 movies. 3 of which lose a little money, 1 of which that breaks even. Then the others are all unquestionable successes, both critically and financially. So when you get to something like Madden, and you see that he's getting Nicolas Cage and Christian Bale and John Mulaney and Catherine Hahn and Sienna Miller and things like that. I mean, it's like, look, this is going to probably be an awards play. It will probably get a bunch of Oscar nominations. It's probably going to do well financially. And again, let's go back to the original quote. It ain't show friends, it's show business. David O. Russell is undeniably a jerk. He's undeniably a horrible human being. It sounds like some of his behavior is even criminal. At least we know official reports were filed. But at the end of the day, Hollywood does not have morals. In fact, they make money off the dreams and hopes that they routinely step on every day. Like, Hollywood is willing to work with David O. Russell because his films make money and win awards. Esteemed actors want to work with him because they might win an award. Yeah, it's kind of a Harvey Weinstein situation where, while I would not call what Russell does nearly as bad as Weinstein, that man is a true monster, people put up with Weinstein because they made money and they won awards. And that's what they care about in this industry, because when you make that much money, at some point, you just want acknowledgement. You just want recognition. And as a result, they will work with people who are terrible, who do terrible things. But, well, they want to get an award. And as long as Russell's films make money, they'll continue to happen. And by the way, I don't think Madden's going to fail. I think Madden's going to make some money. And he's going to be making a movie about the Spanish singer Selena. Guarantee you that thing's going to make money too. So by that point, the guy will be 72. There'll be no canceling him. He'll be near retirement anyway. So that's my explanation for why Hollywood continues to work with David O. Russell. And I'm not saying it's right, but these are the facts. Man's movies makes money. Man's movies win awards. And from my perspective, most of these movies are excellent. And in 50 years, I don't think people are going to be talking about the director. They're going to be talking about how wonderful these movies are. You know, it's kind of like this situation where I was watching the documentary on Heaven's Gate where Michael Cimino who was, by the way, he was so much worse in some ways about film production, where they were just waiting around to film the scene because he was waiting for the perfect shot in the sky. And someone brings up like, hey, are we going to be doing lunch soon? And he kind of like looks at them. It's like, lunch? What are you talking about? Lunch? We're waiting for the sun to rise. Like, in his mind, like, I'm going to be creating this shot that's going to live forever. Who has time to think about lunch? Who's going to care about lunch in 30 years from now? And there's probably some truth to that. But all that being said, I am curious what you think about this. If you are listening to this podcast in a place where there are comments, please comment and let me know what you think of Russell's films, his behavior, and whether or not you think people should still be working with him, even though he brings in the money and the accolades. And if you're listening to this podcast for the first time, you happen to like what you hear, why don't you make it official and subscribe to the podcast? We're on all the podcasting platforms of your choice: Spotify, Deezer, Apple, YouTube, and we would love to have you as a subscriber. And as always, I'll see you at the movies. Take care, everyone. Hey, you made it to the end. Thank you so much for making it to the end. Just a few more things. First of all, the names that you see on the screen, these are our Patreon and YouTube member supporters. And I thank each and every one of them. Their support helps me make exclusive videos for Patreon and YouTube members, as well as keep the channel running. And of course, is just of huge kindness to me. Also, don't forget to check out the iCritic-led podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google, Deezer, whatever podcasting service you listen to. It is there. We definitely want to see you there. And hey, there's also other videos that you can check out. So, check out these other channels, these other videos, especially that one. I think that's a really good one.